Welcome, everybody, to Confidence Factor Talks. Hey. As always, my name is Rudy LaRose, and I'm in the building tonight. Man, this is going to be a fire show because I got a veteran. I hate to say veteran, because when y'all think veteran, you think, oh man, he's from way back. Well, kind of, sort of, but I got a veteran tonight that's bringing the fire to this conversation that we're about to have with this gentleman coming fresh from New York, you know what I'm saying? And I'm excited to be having this conversation with him. So, but before I bring him on, you know how we do every single Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. right here on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, MySpace. Oh, my bad. Well, we're here every Tuesday, and if you're watching us for the first time, in the comment section, make sure you put in where you representing, what city: Jamaica, Haiti, Florida, New York, Washington, California, whatever you represent, London, if you're in from London, wherever you represent from, make sure you put it in the comment section. And of course, be sure to add StreamYard to your Facebook by going to www.streamyard.com/Facebook. And of course, if you are watching the replay, put in #replay, because we're about to have a heart level conversation that's going to lead to transformation, where we talk about what men are afraid to talk about. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the realness in here. So if you hear something that resonates with you, put in #heart level, because man, I felt that from the heart. So we're going to be having this conversation tonight, and I'm super excited to be having this conversation with none other than my brothers coming all the way from New York tonight. So you asked me, well, what's the conversation? And the conversation is real simple. Tonight we're talking about beats, business, and brilliance, navigating the path to success. Beats, business, and brilliance. I'm gonna give you a little hint. This conversation is going to be streamlining based on some discoveries of one of the most popular female groups in the world because of this guy. That's right. So be sure you tune in. Be sure you stay tuned in. But I want to bring in Lamont in this conversation, our producer extraordinaire. What's going on, sir? What's going on?
What's up? Glad to be here. We're going to have a great show tonight.
Man. It's already a great show. I'm here.
Yeah, man. Welcome to Confidence Factor. Just love being in this space. You know what we all about. We're all about, our three smart principles. First smart principle is self-mastery.
Self-mastery. There you go.
Right?
Self-mastery,
it's all about self-mastery.
Self-mastery.
You can master the self. You can move closer to success. Second, from self-mastery, we have Why am I drawing a blank here? Accountability. You can't do anything without accountability, right? You need somebody to hold you accountable for what you're doing. So that's why this community is so important, because accountability. That's the S, that's the M, smart, self-mastery, accountability. And then we have the RT, resources and tools. Yes. Our show is a part of that, resources and tools. And we also have our Unleash Your Riches mastermind, which is, man, we're going through it now, and I'm really excited about being a part of it. And I'm glad to enjoy these conversations every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Confidence Factor Talk for Men. Let's go.
Can you imagine? We are over 100 shows at this point of doing this. Over 100 shows, 3 years, constantly showing up, bringing in guests from all over the place, all entrepreneurial guests, upper management. We're bringing in guest people because we understand that if you want to go faster, further, you have to have people that already been there. You have to have people that's already been through it, been there, done that, understand the process, whether they fail at it, whether they succeed, because in both aspects, you're learning something, right? Both aspects, you're learning something. If I ask the guy who went left instead of going right, hey, how did you get there? It's like, man, listen, I couldn't get there. I went left and I got lost. Okay, that means I gotta go right. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So I love being able to be in this space to have these conversations. And what's inspiring for me, Lamont, is we don't just have these conversations on camera, but off camera, it's even a greater and deeper level of understanding.
Yeah, we call them courageous conversations, because sometimes as men, you know, we don't have community to have these conversations, and sometimes you really have to tell a brother something that he may not want to hear, that may as Bobby B would say, step on your toes a little bit. But those courageous conversations are important because they help us grow. And so that's what I love about being in this community, in this collective, because we can actually call each other out at times. We can actually have each other, you know, take a look from a different perspective, and at the end we walk away better men. So I love it. I love it here, man. I love it here.
We do, man. And so with that being said, too, I have an announcement. Your boy's going on leave of absence. Don't be afraid.
No,
don't be afraid. Your boy is going to a leave of absence because he's going deep dive into my business. I have some new things that I'm working on that's going to be coming out soon. I'm excited about it. So y'all not going to see me as much, but I might just pop in once in a while in there. I might just surprise y'all once in a while. But I'm going on the leave of absence as of July. But I'm truly excited for what we've been able to do. And I know the guys are going to be holding it down. With that being said, man, I want this interviewer to have as much leeway as possible. He's like fam to me. I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember wearing polka dot shirt and polka dot shorts in high school. He came to my school and everybody was like, oh, guys, man, I know this guy, blah, blah, blah. And the next day I was like the most popular kid in school, right? For like a day. And then that was it. They got over it. But he came to my school. We had a great time. I used to spend a lot of summers in New York hanging out with him and the fellas. And I'm not even going to mention the names. I got jumped by a couple of them. You know what I'm saying? I got jumped by a couple of them. And him and his brother have built an empire in the music industry to build something amazing, something great. And decades later, man, we still hearing about them. They're still making an impact. And I'm excited about what they're bringing to the table. With that being said, I also want to bring into the conversation none other than, I hope he's ready, Bobby B. I hope you're ready. Bobby B, you here? You there? You here for us? Are you there? Yeah.
Let's keep going. Let's keep rolling.
All right, let's keep going. All right. Okay, cool. So when you're ready, Bobby, jump in to have this conversation. But without further ado, look, he needs no introduction. When he started this business, when he started in this game, I would say that we were just starting to see the impact of this genre of music, and it went from something that was playing on your radio to something that you were wearing, to the way that you were speaking, the way that you were interacting with people. It literally governed an entire city, and then nation, and then now the world. And as a result of that, I'm sure he has seen his share of so many aspects of life, whether he was traveling abroad or being local. But we wanted to get his perspective on beats, business, and just the pathway to success that he's been able to build for himself. And where do we go from here? What kind of, what can we get from the everything that's going on, not just in the music industry itself, but just life as a whole, and how music has impacted so many of the decisions that we've come to make over the last few years. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I wish I had like some music to play to his entrance. You know what I'm saying? Make some noise for my man Steve Azor in the building tonight. What's going on?
Hey, hello. How's everybody doing? Hi, Lamont. How's it going? Rudy, what's good? Yo, Rudy, you forgot to mention when you was mentioning your IG and Facebook and all that stuff. You forgot to mention your OnlyFans page. I know you.
Oh, come on, man!
And you also forgot about Black Planet too. Don't forget about that.
Don't tell nobody.
Yeah, you want to talk about the past? Rudy was on MySpace, Black Planet. Now he's on Christian Connects, all this stuff.
I know, right? High five, the whole nine, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Steve, thank you for coming to the show.
No, thanks for inviting me, man. It's a great setup. I'm very happy to be here. Very happy to be here.
It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming.
All you gotta do is call me, man. All you gotta do is call me.
There you go. For those of you who are not familiar with Mr. Steve here, tell us a little bit about your background. I'm talking about why are you here today? What made you go into that very critical mission in the 80s? You know, we're talking about the 80s now, to where what you were able to develop today. What was the start of that for you?
I would say I pretty much inherited it. You know, my brother was already in the business, and being older than me, the little brother following the older brother, he was always into music even before he was doing records and stuff like that. So I always had crates of records in the house and stuff like that. And when he used to sneak out, me and my friends used to sneak him in the room and start DJing and stuff like that. So I actually learned how to DJ. And he came home one day and didn't know, that I snuck into his room and he busted us. And he was just like, yo, you're nice. So, that's how I got into the DJ stuff. From there, once the record business started, I followed along with that. First starting out as a DJ, then as the dancer, then as the beat maker and writing the lyrics and stuff like that for all of the groups that we were working with at the time. Wow. We went under the name of Fingerprints. So we didn't have a ghostwriter. We just had like a production writing company that we worked with, and they were just called Fingerprints, and it was just a few of us.
Back in the days, there was no Chat GPT. You know what I'm saying? You had to
do it yourself.
You had to do it yourself.
And it was about coming with a full package, lyrics. Give the fans something they can follow, they can look up to. Some artists, they didn't have a problem with getting on stage with a black T-shirt and some jeans and stuff like that, and that was cool. But then when you look at the street, you had your thugs, you had your GQ guys, you had your Black Power dudes. So you have all these people. They still make up the street. So when you look at hip hop, a lot of time the artists that wasn't so thugged out, they get kind of looked over because being street supposedly supposed to mean that you're hard and stuff like that. And trust me, a lot of great people started out in the street. Pretty much all the great music starts out in the street and not necessarily with thugs and gangsters.
So who was out there when you first started? Like who can you remember? You're like, okay, we see what they're doing there. Not necessarily you want to mimic them, but they paved the pathway, right? To who was actually succeeding, in the industry at the time.
Before that time, at that time, it was actually these people weren't even on records yet. The Cold Crush, Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5. Back then it was Dr. Rock and the Force MCs. Afterwards they got on records, but before that we were already following them with just going to a party with your radio and making a tape and then going back home and playing it, and then making copies and copies of that tape that was from that show. So that was the first mixtape that pretty much went viral back in the days. And then from there, it wasn't until of course you're gonna see Run DMC, the Fat Boys, LL Cool J making money and it becoming a business now. Where it was still taboo, but you can, see how you would do it your way and what you would bring to the game. And I think that's what we did.
Wow. I completely forgot about the Fat Boys, man. The Fat
Boys, Houdini, Bookie Boys, all that stuff was, those were those. I grew up. I was much younger. I remember going to buy those records. So that's how come I remember. Pumpkin and the All Stars and P.S. King and all these, these other, because I had to buy the record, I had to buy the singles, the 12-inch, and get two of them. It's like, yo, you buy one and I buy one because we got a party this weekend, Tila Rock and stuff like that. It's yours. So that was like really, really, really when you can actually go to a party and do a set with nothing but rap music. And that's okay. So there's actually a genre for this. We can fit at least right here.
And so you guys decided to park it there, and then from there on, were there any female rappers at the time? I know Queen came in. I know who else I'm thinking about? Oh my gosh, MC Light.
Well, I think we were actually before. I think we were before that. I don't know what they were doing, but in regards to dropping the actual records, I know Sweet Tea had actually dropped a song with Howie T. You had, also, like I said, even old school people are going to start hearing a lot more of Sha Rock.
I don't remember them.
Nah, this is.
Oh, it was a female group. Yeah.
This was still in the Bronx. This was still.
Yes,
Bronx.
I remember them.
Okay, so then females. I would say the first is one we can call Roxanne Shante, and then the real Roxanne. Yeah. I think shortly after that, Salt and Pepper dropped. Gotcha. And from there, you also had your MC Lights. You had I think those afterwards you had Moni Love, Queen Latifah. You had those. They had that whole set of women starting to come out in the out west. You had Yo Yo, Lady of Rage, and Yvette Money from Philly. I can't forget.
I don't remember that.
I got some crates. I got crates.
So you get into this genre, you and your brother, of course. Shout out to Herbie Love. Shout out to Herbie. You know what I'm saying? I see. If you're watching this, man, shout out. Thank you for paving the way for my cuz to get into this space. When was it, Steve, that you and your brother sat down and be like, man, we really got something here? Was it before the groups? And I know two major groups, and we're gonna talk about them in a minute, but two major groups that you guys are responsible for. But was there a time you can remember you said, man, whether something in the radio or you like maybe somebody came into the studio, but you really knew that you had something special going on?
You know what? It wasn't the records. It wasn't the radio. It was pretty much one day after years of having my life threatened by my parents, namely my father, if I ever even thought about following or going into the music business and stuff like that. You know how Haitian parents are. Everybody's supposed to be a doctor, a lawyer, or engineer.
Right.
And I think the first time I figured out that, listen, we're on to something here is when I heard hold on a second. Hey! That's my dogs. Those are my little kids. I heard my father on the phone talking to some friends, was like, yeah, my kids, they be on tour with Michael Jackson, and they dance with and do videos with Michael Jackson. I'm just like, yo, you lying, man. I hadn't even met Michael Jackson yet. But it's like that was his way of saying that he was proud, I guess, and I was like, wow, okay. So you're an undercover hater, all right? While you over here talking to your friends, telling all kinds of stuff like, I'm in all these meetings with this and that, stuff like that. I'm like, all right, I guess it's okay now. I guess I can actually do this. That guy.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. Oh man, that's awesome. So we're going into the music industry, and I specifically remember coming over, and next thing I knew, Dana Dane was walking in, Kwame was walking in, Kid and Play, of course, Salt and Pepper, Heavy D. There's I think De La Soul,
Latifah, Kane,
Latifah.
Everybody be around the house, the party, mostly around the parties. Like the Kane and Latifah, they probably came to one or two parties. Eric B lived in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I got picked up by Eric B.
A lot of people lived in the neighborhood. Freddie Fox, G Rap. Yep. We were real close to Queensbridge, so you'd have your Craig G, come through. It was back then. It was just like everybody was still pretty much living at home, right, or not too far from it. So it was still like, what are you doing this Saturday? Oh, there's a party at so and so. All right, cool. And that's how.
So what came first? Was it Salt and Pepper or Kid and Play? Who came first?
Salt and Pepper.
Okay, cool. So
Salt N
let's
Pepa.
talk about that for a second. Guys, feel free to jump in. If you're watching for the first time, listen, we're talking to Steve Azor, one of the co-producers of, you just heard it, Salt N Pepper, Kid and Play, and many, many other artists that went on to do some great and amazing things and still touring to this day, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And
They're touring more now than before.
wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
So let's talk about the first time y'all decided to. And by the way, I didn't know they had a different name before Salt and Pepper. I found that out recently. But let's talk about the first time when you guys sat down and realized we got something very special here. Because, like you said, there weren't that many female rappers back then, that many female groups, to be honest, besides the ones that you mentioned earlier.
I think it was pretty much when you actually was able to make a living out of it and you started taking the music business part as an actual business, and this was how you was gonna earn your income. At first it was just pretty much I'm happy to be doing this, I'm happy to be out, this is fun, you know. But then afterwards, when you take it serious and you get that business aspect of it, it's not really as fun anymore. I mean, it's something that you're passionate about, but you know, they say the music business, give or take a few, it's 70% business and 30% music. So you have to start looking at it like, okay, this is going to be a job, and you have to do it even when you don't do it. That's when you know you're in business, because you're looking at your fans, you're looking at your record company, you're looking at so many people that's depending on this product that's called an artist to deliver and to work. So even when you don't want to, you have to.
Yeah. Wow. Did you always know that they were going to be a hit when you guys first produced them, or no?
I mean, we always hoped, we always wished, we always imagined, but to like reach the level of like Run DMC, LL Cool J. I remember the first time I saw Jam Master Jay, he came to my house and I saw that big rope chain and the Adidas hanging from it. I was like, wow, this is Jam Master Jay. MC Shan came by one day. Marley Marl. I'm like, wow, you know. So
the Giant.
It started to become pretty cool, like to know, to be pretty much like, I wasn't into sports. I wasn't into, you know, thugging and gangster stuff and stuff like that, but like a lot of the other guys on the streets was doing. So it was just like, it became like natural to just start knowing these artists, because this is pretty much the company that you kept. That's what you talked about: equipment, DJing, parties, and stuff like that. Even the DJs, you know. So it became regular. It became customary to have that around me.
Lamont, go ahead.
Yeah, you said something really interesting about it becoming a business, and oftentimes, you say taking something that was like a passion and then it becomes a business. Oftentimes, that's how entrepreneurship is, right? You start off doing something that you like and say, "Oh, I'm gonna make a business out of this," right? Can you tell us, like, if you could go back and change that transition in any kind of way, what lessons, what would you change, and what lessons did you learn for it? And what would you encourage a photographer? That's what
I do that too.
What would you?
That's what I do now.
What would you tell an entrepreneur who's in that transition about changing from the passion to creating a business?
That's a good question. Try to sync the two of them. I mean, you have your responsibilities, all right? So you have to make a living. And sometimes you get lost in one. You get trapped. You get trapped in the passion of the dream. But you have to know when that dream is going to be reality or not. You get trapped in the, okay, I got to work. I'm going to put my passion aside because I got to pay these bills. So I can say it's been a real challenge even still, especially when you get into relationships and you start having a family. It's like, how do you separate, start organizing all of these things? What's on your top shelf? What's on your what that you reach, that you use the most? What do you put kind of in the bottom? What's your background music? What drives you, throughout the day? So to try to answer that question, what would I do different? Because you asked a couple of questions. What would I do differently or how do you balance the two?
I mean, you pretty much said how you balance the two. I liked how you said, um, I like how you
Different
said
compartments, yeah.
yeah, creek compartments. But yeah, if you could change anything, what would have been?
Oh, I would change a lot of things. I would change contracts. Like right now, I'm a I would say I'm a beast when it comes to negotiation. I won't negotiate unless I know I'm ready to walk away from the table. You know,
That's
um,
good. That's good.
you know, be willing to be like to say, hey, this isn't the time. You know, um,
But
make
not the
sure
right
that you,
terms.
yeah, make
Mhm.
sure you actually walk away with a good percentage of what you want. And if you don't get it, was it that you was at, were some of the things rational or not? So I would say the contracts is so important. I wish I would have put more work out, like just work, just put things out like Tupac. he has more records, albums released after he passed away than while he passed when he was still living.
Yeah.
So just put things out, Um, go with that feeling. It was a new industry, and you had pretty much so much resistance everywhere you went, especially from our own people, the people that should be supporting us and pushing us. They're also using you as a step to get to where they want to go, and by pushing you down. So I would have liked to have probably silenced a lot of help silence some of the noise about rap. It's bad, this is bad, that, compared to what's happening now. They wish we were still rapping about what we were rapping before. So I think the main thing would be to take it more serious as a business. I mean, I was writing stuff. I was in high school and I was writing just to be able to hear the lyrics back on the radio, and not even care if I got paid for it or not, because I'm like, well, I wrote it now. I could write another one. I could write 10 of these. I could do this all day, But it's like, yeah, but now, these songs are on being used as commercials and you don't have the rights to them and stuff.
Yep.
Damn,
Wow.
So now I think people are still falling for the same track, but they're a little bit more aware. I would have known to have say the right things to certain record company executives, so that when they were giving this person this deal for this type of music that's not selling as much as me, why are you giving me less? To be able to speak to them plain English. You didn't know, so you didn't know what to ask for. You were just happy.
Yeah. And there was no internet to kind of go back and forth and even find out about what was going on with other artists to even know what to ask for.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Wow, that's good, man. I like the aspect of what you said. You talked about, business wise. You talked about this becoming more of a business. And when it came to the business aspect, I think what happens to a lot of artists, and just like other people, not just artists, but painter, if you an artist in painting, if you take pictures, whatever, you go into a field and you're really good at what you do, but then there's a business part of it that you're not so good at and you don't know how to navigate through that. How did you guys deal with that when it came to the business aspect?
Fast forward to now, it's like deja vu, and I'm in the same situation again, where my passion is photography and videography, and I'm going out there to do things just so I can get it done, so I can have it done. And then now when they're like, okay, well, I'd like to hire you. How much is it? I'm just like, I don't know. How much you got? What's your budget? I'm Googling, what does a photographer get for 2 hours at a wedding? And it's like, well, you get like 6,000. I'm like, well, I'm not getting 6,000. I'll be happy if I get 600. And they're like, well, what type of wedding is it? How many cameras? How many? I'm like, all right, I'll figure it out. So basically, with the business sense, we should have. There wasn't like, it's still growing. It was really still growing to the point where record companies had all the tricks, and we didn't get jerked enough to know what was right, what was wrong. I'm talking about from fraudulent record sales. You had no idea how much your record was sold. How would you know?
Right.
Because they
Not
told
back
you.
in the days.
That's what they paid taxes on. I don't know what they did.
Mm.
I'm not saying that they did anything, but I'm just saying I don't know what you did.
Yep. And who were the big wigs back then that were pulling the punch? The well, maybe not. I don't know if you're allowed to mention names, but
you mean for the record company,
right? Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think Atlantic Records was Sylvia Rome. Profile was Corey Robbins, and you had Next Plateau. I like these guys. I mean, all of them I like. Eddie was a real good person. Eddie O'Loughlin was a great guy. He taught me a lot. I learned a lot from him, and I think he was pretty much fair. As fair as he could be at the time. Another thing is kind of like, if you're selling something, say for instance, Rudy could probably relate to this. You're in the streets in Haiti and you're selling lemons. So you're a marchand citron, right? And you're selling lemons, and you got them for a real good price, and everybody else is selling them for $4, but you can sell them for 80 cents. You're not going to be able to sell them for 80 cents because the other merchants are going to be like, yo, you're killing my business. And now you're going to have everybody over here expecting to get it for that same price. So do it for $3.50, and do it like that. So I think that's one of the things, because little by little, when you started hearing, oh, this person made this much for an advance, then they were able to say, but it's going to be recouped. They had so many ways to say that they're going to take the money back or to take the money back. But then when you was like, I'm fighting for my masters, I want my publishing, I want to keep my publishing and stuff like that. By then, it took some time. It took the first records that we did. I don't think we kept publishing or kept 100% of publishing or even own your masters. To this day, people didn't even really know what your masters are, or your publishing is. So there's so many different ways to make money, and there's a lot of ways to get robbed too.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: when did you all realize, or did you ever have a lawyer? At one point, did you get a lawyer?
Yeah, I got a lawyer because I kept getting sued. But one of my best lawyers was someone who sued me. He was bad. He was a real mean, shisty person. And he had a lot of tricks. And somebody was suing me, and they was like holding up my money. I couldn't get paid for like years, about to get evicted. Already you got 4 million records sold, and you're trying to explain it to your landlord like, listen, I got this money coming for real. And they're like, listen, I got the sheriff coming too. So you got to figure out what you want, And then, so we finally was able to they let something loose. I got a little bit of money, and then we settled the case. And another time, I had to sue somebody, so I went and got that lawyer because he was bad. I need a bad lawyer. I need a real lawyer that just wins. He was like, yo, no offense. I'm like, yo, dude, I want you to do exactly what you did to me. Right? And I'm on your side. So yeah, I eventually had to get lawyers because I kept getting sued for stuff, sampling. I got sued. Like, I wrote half of Shake Your Thing, and I get nothing for it because the Isley brothers took 100% of the publishing period. Because Shake Your Thing sounds like It's Your Thing, so their chorus It's Your Thing sounds like Shake Your Thing, and it is. But what about the verses? What about all of the verses that go on? So I still don't think that's fair, and one day I might pick it up again. I don't know if I'll win anything, but those are the type of things that happen. If I had a lawyer, they would have been like, they could afford it maybe. And got something out of it. So things like that, definitely get a lawyer so that you'll know what mistakes or what could happen before it happens.
Who was a mentor for you? Go ahead, Lamont. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, I finally figured it out, and I got a lawyer to write my contracts.
You could have went to ChatGPT, man.
Nah, bro. I have used ChatGPT for a contract, but I went to my lawyer to get a contract, because here's the thing. contracts are written for your benefit. They're written to cover you. And so I've had to tell clients, it's in the contract. It's in the contract. I can't change that. It's in the contract. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, good point.
Yep. The contract thing is very important. They could be broken. You know, it just takes the right lawyer, the right judge, the right circumstances. Sometimes you win, but you don't win nothing. They just say, okay, you won. And now what? It's like, I don't know who's gonna pay you. Oh no, you're gonna pay me, but you won. So it's just like, the other day I had somebody hand me a contract on something, and I told them, I said, did you read this? It was like, yeah. I said, I don't think you read this. Okay, so since you're not reading contracts, let me send you a contract. You know, so you also got to be careful of, besides letting your lawyer make up the contract from you, try to find out what's in it. Both ways.
Yeah, that's good. Who was a mentor for you, Steve, in this whole journey? And maybe you've had several of them, but can you tell me a couple of people that comes to mind that really on this journey? Because here's the thing: when you started, you know, of course, hip hop was just starting. There was a lot of new energy going in. There was the East Coast and the West Coast, like you said. There were the gangster rap, and then there was the friendly kid and play, the party type of vibe. You know, Salt N Pepa and stuff like that. There must have been somebody or a few people that you could rely on and say, hey, you know, these guys are responsible to looking out for us and making sure that we did right.
Well, of course, obviously my brother,
right?
But besides that, I mean, the friends that I kept, the company that I kept was also, you know, supportive. I think I have to do the Ice-T. I got to give myself a lot of credit for being observant, for observing and learning from other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
Which of course it's not a mistake. Then it's just if you learn from it, it's a lesson.
Right.
So I had a lot of lessons. I remember I had a lawyer sit down with me and explain to me the breakdown on how to get your riders mechanicals and your points. So I got to say something to Paul Marshall. Also learning from people like Corey Robbins and Eddie O'Loughlin. They were also a big part. But a producer like Marley Marl, I think I was really inspired a lot by, because Marley Marl was and still is a very humble man who's responsible for forging hip hop. He's one of the he has the hammer and the he's definitely the chiseler. He's definitely carved out a serious part in hip hop. So many names came through his studio apartment and gave birth to a lot of legends today. So he would be pretty much, I would say, the number one producer on my list of, you know, inspiring producers, and definitely an unsung or not sung enough hero, a legend, definitely.
Right. Is he still producing?
I don't know. I think he has a radio show or something like that.
Okay.
I don't even know if he was in the country. I actually spoke to him around COVID time. I speak to him like every 10 years or something like that. I have somebody that's looking to get in touch, and he's really cool, very humble, and that's why I just love to see that in people, you know.
How do you feel about 30 years of hip hop? How do you feel about hip hop now?
30 years of hip hop? Shoot, what happened to the other 20?
I'm talking about you specifically, but
oh, me?
Yeah.
I can't really say 30 years. I could probably say about maybe 15, because the last 15 years, I could care less.
Right.
Honestly,
right.
It's in my mind. I mean, it's in my blood. It's in my blood. So I'd have to get a blood transfusion to get it out. It's in the DNA now, but
right.
I'm just observing. It's cool. It was good. It was great. You know, I love a good rap song. I love a good rapper, good lyrics. You know, I understand sometimes it's time to just bow out gracefully and let the new generation do their thing. Doesn't mean you have to like it or like all of it. I think some of it is very, you know, interesting. But to me, I don't think hip hop rap music developed the way hip hop dancing developed and evolved, or the way DJing developed and evolved. I'm looking at stuff that these guys do on the turntables now. Unbelievable. All right. They were nice back then, but these guys evolved and took it to another level.
Gotcha.
The hip hop dancing that's going on right now, yo, I think any of these dudes today are better than anybody back in it. But the stuff that they're doing as groups, the ingenuity, they're tight, all different nationalities and race, they're like amazing. I just look at amazement at what these, the dancers are doing today. I don't feel that way with music.
So let me ask you this. So there was a change in hip hop, right? It went from feel good music, inspirational, uplifting, to a shift. Do you believe, or do you know, was that shift engineered? Was it purposely?
I believe it's definitely something from higher powers, and I don't mean the Most High. I mean the minions, different agencies. We don't need to name anything because everybody's phone. Next thing you know, you're gonna have IRS looking at you because you mentioned someone. So definitely, this thing is completely taken over and ran by entities that are not us. They have completely different
agendas,
alternative ways. It's definitely not about, this was our voice. Rap music was our voice. It was our way to communicate with each other all over town, all over the country, all over the world, with other people that look like us, that was in our oppressed or in our state. And it was, even when it was bad, it was still good. It was still uplifting. Now, it's just soft porn. It's just soft porn, in some cases, regular straight up pornography, sex trafficking, idolizing this. I like to say that rap music today, not to sound like a hater, because I am definitely serious, without a doubt, professional hater. I take pride in my hating, but to not sound like that. The rap music today reminds me of fast food. It's packaged, all right? Nobody's making more money than a fast food restaurant. I don't care how good your favorite restaurant is. Popeyes or McDonald's is outselling them, all right? Everybody goes there. Everybody eats there, all right? And it's just like, some aren't even fast food. Some are cup of noodles. You just add water and stir, and it's an instant meal. So it's an instant hit. It doesn't stick to you. You kind of just feel like, all right, well, I'm not hungry anymore, and you're happy. But rap music, when I was growing up, and when we was doing music, it was more like soul food. It was more like grandma's cooking, It was more like, those black pots and the lady with the big armpit, the big arms, and the elbow that looks like a dimple, because everything else is just, she was in the kitchen cooking. You was gonna get some good food when she was up in there, that food that stuck to your soul. We don't have that anymore. It's just like Lunchables. Everything is, here's your crackers, here's your little pudding, here's this snack. You wrap it up and boom, poof, dead, completely dead. No nutrients. There's nothing in it.
Wow. I think that, wow, that's just profound. I think that I want to say that there was a cause as well too, Lamont, that we had back then, that there's no longer a cause, to that extent.
Yeah, get the bag. Get the bag. That's the cause. Get the bag.
That's the new cause now. Get the bag. You know what I'm saying?
Always get the bag, but it's just like, I can't say nothing because I don't listen to it.
Right.
I do like the beats. I do like some stuff. Like I actually like drill. I like the music because it reminds me of carnival. It's real fast and it reminds me of like carnival and calypso and soca and stuff like that. So I do like drill. Nobody, of course, no one worries about saying anything. You don't have to say anything. That's like Chat GPT is about to rap. Is about to be the best rapper. About to be the best rap out because I put Chat GPT to the test and I was like, yo, I need you to write a song about da 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 da. And he wrote it back to me. I was like, all right, it's a little corny, but
I tried the same thing.
This can go pop. I said I wouldn't use it, but this can go pop.
Right.
I tried the same thing. Speaking of which, we are seeing a shift in popular genre to Afrobeat now, as you can tell.
Oh,
which is so interesting to me, by the way.
I love it. That's my
right.
Playlist. That's my playlist right
there. Even though half of it we don't understand what they're saying, but that's okay.
No. But I didn't understand what Bismarcky was saying half of the time either.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. God bless your soul, Bismarck.
God bless, man. Shout out to nobody beats the biz. With that being said, I do think that people in general and society in general still have quote unquote an opinion to a certain degree, but they also have a say so as to, well, we don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Or yeah, man, this is vibing to us. Do you feel that even in business, sometimes you might produce something that the powers that be may not like, but if the people want it, they're gonna get it and they're gonna ask for it, more and more and more, where now your genre, like Afrobeat, for example, becomes more popular than Lil Wayne, stuff.
And then it'll be like that until they figure out the combination and how to infiltrate it. So being the most creative people on the planet that we are, we just keep making up more hits. We just keep coming up with more things. I figure in about 4 years, there'll be another thing. Afrobeat will definitely evolve again. There'll be, something else that's hot.
Right.
They did the same thing with reggaeton. They did it with reggae and put a new tone to it. And then that was it. Put that tone to it. And then it became reggaeton, which is reggae.
Right.
And they did it right now. You're gonna see the reggaeton artists doing Afro beats.
Right.
No, excuse me. They're doing that already, but they're going between that and drill. So, and then now, besides drill, there's another one that's out, which is that bass that's just running rampant. That thing. It's like you had your finger on repeat, and it's just the bass going to do. So I'm not sure. I don't remember what they call that, but maybe they call it bass. I don't know.
Right. In the music industry and in business in general, you have your generals. You have, of course, the Jay-Z's of the world. You've got LL, who's has a great success in his career and stuff like that. How do you think? And do you think, I should say, that it is wise as an artist, as a business, to explore, if you will, every avenue that you may have? So maybe it's not just music. Maybe you have a clothing line. Maybe
Of course. Why would you stop with that? I mean, a lot of singers and musicians always think about being on the silver screen. They want to be in movies. A lot of movie actors want to be singers. Comedians do all of them. Comedians do TV, records, comedy. They usually do everything. So I think you should even go into other businesses that have nothing to do with entertainment.
Got it.
Maybe go into some kind of agricultural product, which a lot of them did with cannabis. Maybe go into real estate. So definitely, I always ask people, if I'm doing an interview with someone, what would you do? What would you like to have had been as successful as you are in entertainment, but in a different type of business? So if you're an actor and you're a successful actor, what business would you have had like to be successful in that has nothing to do with entertainment?
Got it.
You know, I don't know what I want. Bobby.
That's the question for you.
Me, I'd probably definitely want to come out with some kind of a natural products, herbs, and alternative medicine. It's weird that they call it alternative medicine because it's been what we use for thousands of years, and now that's like new wave and alternative to what the medicine is today. So yeah, I would like to do natural remedies and alternative medicines. Not just medicine, but just products, period. Hair products, lotions, sanitizers, everything just out of what we have in our yards. So I'd like to do a successful business in that.
I got a question that came in. It said that blockchain will disrupt the music industry. Do you think artists will have more creative control when that happens financially, or are you familiar with that at all yet?
No, break down blockchain again. I know I'm not as learned in blockchain.
I mean, really, what it is just technology. Is that now, for example, ChatGPT.
Okay, so that thing. Okay, so that I okay. Yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think I'll come out with a whole rap group and I'll do all the voices. I'll change the voices and I'll come out with a whole animated group. Mm-hmm. And now I think it might actually rely on. Okay, so I have this thing called the 6 T's in entertainment, right? One of them is talent. But not everybody has talent.
What's the other 5?
Very successful. Huh?
What's the other 5?
Technique. That means you might have a style. You might not be the best singer, but the way you sing. Today I was talking to someone. They said, yeah, Tone Loc wasn't that great, but his voice was incredible. Yeah. So that was his technique. Right. All right. Besides technique, you have technology. You have a lot of people who don't want to evolve. Like when we went from turntables to CDs, a lot of DJs was like, I'm not doing that no more. And a lot of them got left behind if they didn't upgrade. Then they went from that to the USB. Sure enough, you're back to the records, but not if you didn't do all those other steps. Right. You gotta have the technology. A lot of big artists never got on IG or Facebook. They never got on Instagram. Mm-hmm. They were on Facebook, but they weren't on Instagram, and they got left. Mm-hmm. New little artists came out, hitting million, and you look at other artists that you love and you follow, and they're at 60,000. You know, they had no kind of they didn't have that much, you know. They didn't believe in the technology in that sense. Also with different things on stage, your equipment, studio stuff, making the transition from analog to digital was also a lot of people struggled with, not knowing that you can go from digital and then to analog and do it backwards. My next one from that was tenacity. You know, your drive. How do you work? How hard do you think you work? You know, how hard, not you think you work, but how hard do you actually work? That drive, that, I don't really feel like doing this interview. I don't really feel like going to this record store for the signing. I don't feel like spending more time in the studio. I don't want to do these lyrics over. You got some people that they go at it, and they don't stop.
Did you have people like that came through?
Everybody was a work beast. All right. Some more than others, but everybody knew they had to work. The last 2 things I would say timing. Sometimes, and what would happen to me a lot of times is ahead of your time. Sometimes you miss your calling, waiting for the right deal, the right contract, the right everything, and then it passes. And sometimes people are just not ready for you, and your timing is wrong. So timing is also very important. And lastly, number 6, I would say, is your team. You can't do it all by yourself. You need someone to just handle social media. You need someone to just handle your calls and your this and your that. You need a team, and you have to then market yourself in this artist as a product, something that sits on the shelf, and it has a whole industry behind it. It has its lawyers, its accountants. It's it's as small as you think you are. It needs all of those things,
Right.
and it's so important. So back to the reason why I think this stuff may or may not take over is because it is the new technology. So if you do spend all your time on the technology, you have all the gadgets, but you don't have nothing new to push through it. You know, you don't stay consistent working on it. So you can have the new technology and you don't really use it, and it just collapses. So if you still follow all of these things, keep people interested, keep feeding that beast. Sometimes keep them waiting. That might be your technique. You got to have the technique. You know, feeding them the new talent, new things coming through.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll just take over. I think we're gonna adapt to it.
Gotcha.
Like,
I mean, it's like the direct to consumer stuff now.
Yeah, if you want to live, life is always going to find a way. It's always going to find a way to survive. You're always going to find a way to survive. So we're going to just adapt.
So you talked about your photography business, and of course, I got to give you a shout out on that. So before we leave, we got a few minutes left. Can you give us a place where we can find you? You know, if people are interested in videography. I know I've seen some of the stuff that you've done with some, major shows back, back when we were hanging out in 80.
Yeah. I'm on YouTube under this thing. This is IT Diplogué. That's like the Haitian Follies, Haitian Unplugs and stuff like that. So it's AYITI. Diplogue, DEPLOGE. That's a show. I just finished doing something at Lincoln Center actually this Sunday. It was a tribute to an artist of ours, a friend of ours who passed out right on stage.
On stage, yeah, that was so sad.
Like Mika Ben, right in Florida. So we just did a birthday celebration for him, and I'm on IG under Steve Azor, STEVE AZOR, and Steve Azor Photography, which here goes the technology thing. I create so much and I don't post. I don't even think I post 10% of the stuff that I'm actually doing. It's like I do it and I'm like, okay, good, and then on to the next thing. So
we're gonna have a conversation backstage about that for sure.
I'm just like, I need that team that's gonna take it and then do what they got to do with it, so I can keep creating because I'm more on the creating aspect. I'm more on the technical aspect too, but I'm more on the creative aspect of it.
Gotcha.
Those are the two main things. Believe it or not, I think I might be on Twitter. I never really understood Twitter. I didn't even like the idea of tweeting.
Right.
It didn't sound right. With the whole demasculization that's going on, I thought tweeting was a way for them to trick me into some kind of, on the dress type. I didn't really mess with the tweeting and stuff like that. It sounds too much like twerking. Twerking might mess up. You're on the gram.
Last question, Steve. Your brother still doing music?
Nah, I heard we got like 3 or 4 restaurants down in DR right now. He's at one in Santo Domingo, like one in Sosúa, one in Puerto Plata, one in Cabarete. He just franchised them.
Wow.
He just franchised them. So you can do that. I saw somebody on the thing say to add it again. They wanted to know what the 3 T's were. So the 6 T's was talent, which if you get into the music industry or entertainment, you should have talent, but a lot of people really don't. And they still make it because they have the technique, the technology, the tenacity, the team, and the timing. So those are the 6 T's. And you can have some of them. If you have all of them, then you're just like pretty much a titan. That's the other thing. You wind up being a titan. But work on all of them. It can be like a checklist that you go through.
Yeah, that's good. Well,
and I'm on YouTube. Also, YouTube is IT Diplogue, and I might be Steve Diplogate too. You can check that out.
We'll find you.
Eat the herb, my herb business, which I never post because I'm very passionate about it. So I just do it like on the what's up? I'm feeling this, or I need this. What do you got for that? I'm like, do this, do that, do that. But I'm gonna start doing the herb thing again. I just gotta clear the plate a little bit. Eat the herbs.
Well, yeah, you guys heard it straight from Steve here. Again, thank you so much for coming through. This could have definitely been a 3-hour conversation because I have so many other questions I could ask.
I didn't talk to you about my door cleaning business.
Right.
I'm just playing. I ain't got no door cleaning business.
So we got to bring you back for sure, man. Guys, go ahead and take it away. Steve, hang out for a second. We'll come back to you backstage. Thanks again for coming through.
All right.
Man, that was a great show.
Hard level, baby.
Hard level. Yeah, hard level.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, our brother Bobby don't have audio right now, so I'm gonna close out the show. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. You know, our conversation today with Steve was a blessing because he really showed us as business professionals the importance of a contract, right? The importance of talent, technique, technology, tenacity, timing, team to become a titan. And he just blessed us with being able to go back into the industry and look at the change, and for us as entrepreneurs, how we can take the lessons that he learned and apply them to our business. This is Confident Factor Talks from Men, our inspiration injection. All impulses of thought have a tenacity to clothe themselves in their physical equivalent. I want to thank you once again for being here. My name is Lamont. That's Rudy. That's Bobby. We're Confidence Factor. Shout out to Darian. Sorry you couldn't be here tonight, but you are here in spirit. And like we always say, in everything that you do, we always keep it
heart level. Heart level.
We'll see you next week. Thanks for showing up.